Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Hi, it's Dave here. This is my wife, Kathy.
Hello.
This is the Cinemile. It's the podcast where we walk home from the movies, and movies are back because the biggest movie star in the world has made a movie, and we're going
Stop saying the word movie.
Go to the movies to watch this movie. How are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you pumped?
I mean, this is the definition of movie when people say movie versus film. This is a movie.
Yes.
I am a big fan of this franchise, and I always get really excited before these films, so I am excited for this film. I am a little bit nervous because it's
the
a
bad
part
one was
two.
a bit wobbly, wasn't it?
The last one was a part one, which annoyed us both, and we talked about at length how much that annoyed us when we reviewed it. So it kind of dampened me a bit. I don't like doing homework before I go to the cinema, so I have not rewatched it ahead of this one. So I'm kind of going in going, oh, is there going to be stuff I don't remember? And am I already on the back foot as a viewer? So that was kind of frustrating me.
Why didn't you just watch the 7-minute recap I WhatsApped you?
Because I just don't think I don't feel obliged to do that.
But what's going to happen now is we're going to sit there and then you're going to whisper every 10 seconds to me, was he in the last one?
I've seen it. I have seen the movie. I don't want to see it again. It's about 100 hours long.
I'd imagine they'll recap it in some way. There'll be some exposition.
They'll have to have some exposition because
as you remember Ethan.
They can't presume that this audience saw the last one. I think that would be a fundamental mistake. So I hope they aren't. Or like me, they can't presume we've seen it and remember it. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. So I am excited to see huge stunts, which I've no doubt he's doing. Love to see it. The man is in his 60s at this point, and he's just hanging off anything you can find.
Fun fact, which Stephen KT in our Patreon shared with us. Ian McKellen is the same age.
You were butchering this.
I've messed it up. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise.
We get it.
Right now, playing Ethan Hunt is the same age that Ian McKellen was when he filmed The Lord of the Rings, playing Gandalf, which is wild.
It's a wild stat, and thank you for completely butchering it.
Sorry.
Yeah, that is wild. I love to see it. I just saw clips of him standing on the roof of the IMAX, which is so cool. Like, what I love is his dedication to coming out and just being a movie star. I'm going to go to Cannes, I'm going to be in London, I'm going to be carrying the torch at the Olympics. Like, I will do anything to promote this franchise.
He does the work. He works hard on screen and off.
Yeah, so I really admire that. What is our checklist from Mission Impossible that you're hoping to get here, Dave?
Masks, heist, punches, stupid stunts, and done.
Inappropriate age gap with the younger woman?
I don't need that, no.
But we'll get it, though.
Of course we'll get it, yeah. Now, to be fair, much like Matthew McConaughey in that movie said, to be fair, he has aged, but the women have stayed the same. From Mission Impossible 1 to this, they've all stayed the same.
They all look the same.
Yeah.
He
certainly has a type, Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, he really does. But he always has this kind of strange, fatherly, asexual, vaguely flirty. Like, I never know what's going on with Ethan and these women.
The love plots are the least interesting part of these
and
movies.
Yet they insist on them because Ethan's entire life is just trying to do things for women, you know. So anyway, we are going to see it now. It's a Tuesday night, which is really fun. We're going to see it in the biggest screen in Cork, which is the Max screen in Cineworld, the closest thing we have to an IMAX. And I can't wait to see it on a big screen on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, let's
fun.
go.
Bye.
CIA Black Vault break-in.
Am I reading this correctly? The Kremlin bombing?
In fairness, the bomb was actually meant to kill him.
He gassed a security briefing.
That was just 2 months ago.
This explains the handcuffs. It's still not clear why he's here.
If we want to bring the world back from the brink, we have to deal with him.
Should he choose to accept?
Smart people on every side are close to panicking.
What exactly is your plan?
Okay, hi, we're back. We've seen Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Or Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2, as it should be called.
Yeah, that's what we all wanted, isn't it? Is it? So, if it's your first time here at the Cinemile, here's what's going to happen. We're going to talk about the movie without any spoilers, and then there's going to be a mission briefing, which I'll tell Kathy that our destination is Spoiler Street, and here's how it's underwater.
Okay.
And we have to cross these laser beams to get to it.
Okay.
And then we'll warn you all when we're at Spoiler Street, and that's when the spoilers start. And I would say, let's just say spoilers for all the Mission Impossible movies. But before we get there, Kathy, what did you think of this film?
Well, I was thrilled to see a fully packed cinema on a Tuesday night. Like, most of the time when we go to the cinema, at most there's 10 other people in our screen. Like, even when we went to Final Destination, like, it wasn't busy, and that's a big film.
It's doing well, actually.
It is doing well, but like,
nice
we
to
just
see.
typically sit in at very, very quiet movie theatres. So I was so happy to be at the cinema tonight, and it absolutely packed. And it's a huge screen, as I said, like, it's the biggest screen in Cork. So love it.
Dolby Atmos.
Yeah, it was really good. Like, it's great to look at, you know. Like, I would love to have seen it in IMAX, but like, this is a very close second.
It was a great trip to the cinema.
Great trip cinema. Secondly, I think they definitely guessed that people won't remember the first one, and they gave us, some could say, too many flashbacks and recaps of the first one. And someone had messaged us on one of the social channels, I can't remember which one, saying that they actually felt like a fool for going to see it, having bothered rewatching the one before this, because it just all got recapped anyway, which I thought was interesting. They like feel cheated that they bothered watching part one again.
The dialogue in this movie is 70% exposition.
Yeah, 70%. Remember in the last film, Ethan? I think the visuals were very spectacular in terms of the stunts, which I liked. I missed the mission briefing because I went to the toilet, which I'll never forgive myself for.
Worst possible timing, but I think you should probably explain the context.
But it's a very long film, so you kind of have to go to the toilet. And I didn't know the mission briefing was coming up, and somebody next to me was getting up at the same time, and because it was so busy, I was like, well, if he's going to make everyone move, I'll just get up at the same time.
You did a very courteous thing, which is the most efficient, but I was trying to indicate to you, like, this is a bad time. Like, you should have known that was when they were just about to say, here's what we have to do.
But we're perfectly you've
seen enough of these movies.
They hadn't said that when I got up, and we were fully penned in right in the middle. I was like, if I don't go out with this guy now, I'm just going to wreck everyone's head in like 10 minutes when I go. So there
is an art to choosing when to go to the toilet, and I think there's even somebody created an app dedicated to that, which gives you the optimal times for each film.
How about the time is just when the person next to you is also getting up and you're being nice. So I missed the mission briefing, which I was really annoyed about. I love the callbacks again to the first film, and we'll talk about them on spoilers. I really loved those. I don't know though that I came away from this film like full of energy and excitement.
Same.
Like we did, say, for the 5 and 6, which we would have reviewed on this podcast. And like, we love Mission Impossible. Like, a couple of years ago we watched them all back to back just at home for fun. I come out of this thinking it's a bit bloated.
Yeah, a bit.
The mission didn't always make sense.
Didn't always. Didn't ever.
There was too many characters, so most of them got absolutely nothing to do. Like Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames. Like, I mean, geez, they've really been sidelined. Hey,
but you need to make room for these new characters who I don't know their names.
Like, there was like,
and why are they here?
Like, basically and I can see why Rebecca Ferguson wanted to leave, because most of the time the other characters, including like Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Hayley,
you're doing nothing.
Like, they're just standing around doing nothing. These are like A-grade actors, and like, they're just background friends who, like, when Tom Cruise says something, they'll like nod at him and give him like a sort of wry smile. And that's like the entirety of what they're doing in those scenes. So I felt like they got very underserved.
I mean, they both, to be fair though, they both got a big moment.
Yeah, one big moment, but you're talking like,
it's a 2 hour 45 minute movie.
3 hours, this film.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was all very bloated. But then when you're in the action scenes, like the submarine stuff was so cool.
They're incredible.
We'll talk about it on spoilers. It was so cool. But I do think that the film has sacrificed plot a little bit because they've been allowed to run away with just making these incredibly bloated scenes. Like, we don't actually need 20 minutes of Tom Cruise hanging off an airplane. I appreciate he did it in real life. It's only interesting because I know he did it in real life. Otherwise, it's actually a boring scene, I would say. But because I know he did it, it's thrilling. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with everything you say. Everything.
Well, you tell us what you thought then.
Except I actually thought that airplane part, and that's not a spoiler, it's on the posters, was fantastic, beginning to end. Mm-hmm. I was in that.
But if he wasn't really doing it in real life, would you have been like, this is a good scene?
It was a good scene regardless, but I think you're right. It's the icing on the cake. It improves your enjoyment of those scenes when you're like, you see his face whipping back from the wind because he's bloody up there, and you're like, so yes, it enhances your enjoyment.
I still maintain Top Gun Maverick is a better Mission Impossible than these last two films.
Yes, these last two films are way down the Mission Impossible rankings, like way down, and it is sad to see. And so I, like you, am kind of coming away with very mixed feelings. But I'll always come back and watch them.
I'll always come back and watch them. Like, we're coming from a place of love. With that
exactly right. We love this franchise so much, and we've seen how good it can be. For me, Rogue Nation and Fallout are the height.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which is funny because it's the same people, right? That's Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise.
But I think now they've just been given, and this always happens to creatives, when they're given such a free rein from like we see this even when shows go from being like on network TV to going to Netflix, and suddenly they have an extra 20 minutes per episode. They lose the run of themselves. Like, these guys have made a 5-hour movie.
Yeah, and it's saggy as all hell.
The core story of this 5-hour movie is that they're fighting against a computer.
It is the weakest villain. It is so uninteresting.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to echo a lot. I think a lot of what we said, because I listened back to our thoughts from 2 years ago when we reposted that up. A lot of it extends to this film. They do feel like
they're the same film.
Exactly, they are two sides of the same coin. Even though I think Dead Reckoning had a harder production schedule because they did it in COVID and it was messed around a lot. So I think this film had a little kind of better run at it, but they feel of a piece because they are so saturated with unnecessary plot, like characters. They're baggy as all hell, and I think this is part of their process. This is, I think, showing the cracks in their process where they don't really have scripts. This is, I think, well documented.
Oh wow! Well, that is very, very evident.
So they start with like, "What do you want to do, Tom?"
Which is totally fair, by the way.
Oh, by the way, yeah, they have done this and gotten incredible results for so long.
Like,
let them cook.
But even the last movie when he was like, I want to jump off a cliff on a motorcycle. Okay, that was so cool. But
and then you write the thing around that. And that's a fine way to do it too. But the problem is the support structure of then writing the plot and then writing the dialogue second to the action is just that those two parts of the tripod are just falling over. The action is incredible in this movie. This is cinema. This is thrilling. The two big set pieces I thought were fantastic.
They were.
And I loved them. Are they as good as some other ones we've had in the series? Probably not. They're probably still a little down the pecking order, but still incredible. So this is, I think, a little...
if you just total aside for a second, what's your best ever Mission Impossible then? Action scene.
See, I actually think the Rogue Nation underwater one was
better
than this one. Yeah, even though this one is...
Because he's holding his breath.
More ambitious in scale and technical.
Like, I was holding my breath when I watched that.
Yeah.
And he was holding his breath. And I very quickly realised I couldn't keep holding my breath.
It was very thrilling. I'm a big fan of the Ghost Protocol, Dubai chase. There's a lot more happening in these things, I gotta say as well. So what some of these scenes were missing is the layers of complexity. So for instance, in Ghost Protocol, he's climbing the building with the sticky gloves. The sticky gloves start to fail. I mean, simultaneously.
We just recently just showed our 7-year-old that scene because he was interested in the tallest building in the world. And boy, does it hold up. And he couldn't
That's
believe
great.
what he was watching.
And then simultaneously, they're trying to build a mask inside. There's 3 things happening, and the mask machine fails. So then all these things, whereas I feel like this movie,
Yeah,
we'll
that
get
was so
into it in
good.
spoiler, was trying to kind of have these intersecting complexities, but I don't know, it was all a little first draft, some of it, in terms of the intricacies of it. But,
We'll have
but
to
the
get-
minute-to-minute stuff is brilliant.
We have to get to this in spoilers as well, just to tee it up. I still don't understand what Tom was doing hanging off that plane. For the entire scene, I was like, why is he doing this? Like, I love to see it. I'm celebrating him doing it.
It's such
But
a...
I do not understand the motivation of Ethan
Okay.
Hunt right now to be up on this plane.
I agree.
And that completely threw me
and
off
I can't
the scene.
tell you either.
Right, but anyway, back to what you thought about this film. Can I say one more thing? Sorry.
Yes.
No masks in this film.
No, there were 2 at the beginning, but it's
come
not... Yeah,
on.
they're very cursory,
It was
yeah.
pathetic.
Yeah, I know.
There was better stuff in the last one when he was doing all the Kitteridge mask stuff. Like that was fun.
Yeah,
This was like
much better.
an aside where it was almost like they went, oh lads, we finished the film and we forgot to do some masks. Just get Simon Pegg and Tom Cruise back there for a minute and they'll just do a quick mask scene.
Anyway, I just think we should get to spoilers here. What I will say is I think I still recommend people going
Oh,
to
for
this.
sure, yeah.
Although I bumped into a work colleague after this, and she said she doesn't remember seeing any of these films, and she said she had a big nap throughout it. So I think if you're not into these, this isn't the one to jump in at.
Well, everyone's saying though it looks a bit long. Like the duration is like unnerving people.
Wouldn't you love to take a scissors to it? I'm going to get into it in spoilers. Like, there is so much unnecessary nonsense.
What you need
in
to do
this.
is go into the IMAX, get the film, and cut it with the scissors and just stitch it back by hand. You know.
I think
see
that's
that in your
exactly what I
future.
should do.
There was a lovely opening though. This was self-destruct in 60 seconds piece that I really liked, which we forgot to mention as one of the things on our list.
And there's a lot of... The film does a pretty good job of reminding us of the legacy of Mission Impossible films, I think, and made me nostalgic for a lot of them. It's a little ham-fisted
We need to get to
sometimes.
spoilers because some of that was ludicrous though.
Right, let's do it. So,
We have to go to spoilers, but like both of our assessment is it's still a great day out in the cinema.
this is a good film
Yeah.
by any other
Exactly,
standards. This is a great action film. It's just that we've seen these filmmakers do better, and it's just unfortunate that like their own mission was to one up themselves. And I don't feel that they one up themselves in terms of action, and I feel that they've two-downed themselves in terms of plot and
And can
dialogue.
I say, like, if ever somebody says to you, I've got an idea for a film, I think it's going to take place over 2 films, you say no. Okay, you're talking Lord of the Rings, fine, you're based on 3 books, that's acceptable. An original story about an AI computer?
Yeah,
No,
come
thank
on,
you.
Come on, no
Yeah.
thanks. Right. So before we do go to Spoiler Street, quick shout out to all our patrons over at patreon.com/The Cinemile, who we love talking to and are sharing their thoughts on Mission Impossible. Some mixed reactions in there as well. Some people
yeah.
really loved it. Some people really, really hated it.
Yeah, very mixed reactions.
So really, really interesting reactions in there. If you want to join our community, head over to patreon.com/The Cinemile.
and we're currently reviewing over there Andor, The Last of Us.
We're way behind on
Loads more
Andor.
stuff.
Sorry, yeah, the week regular Last of Us episodes, lots of regular TV check-ins. Final Destination from 2000, the first one. We have an episode up on, and we'll be doing a retro movie every month. You can vote on what you want us to watch. Patreon.com/The Cinemile. We'll be back in a moment. You might hear a quick ad. Okay, so spoilers now for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, and let's say all the other Mission
The
Impossible.
first 10 minutes of this film, synopsis of the previous film.
Yeah.
Which was very welcomed by me. So I was happy with that, but then they kind of kept doing it throughout, and I was like, lads, I get it, I remember now.
What surprised me from that bit was, as you know, Ethan, the entity is now all over the world and is trying to control the... I'm just like, what?
Yeah, 2
And then-
months has passed from the first
But
one.
then they keep saying this, like the world sounds irrevocably changed, and yet it's just like we see no
world building. I
no
had
world
the
building,
same
no
thought.
on the ground impact. It's just there's a scene. It follows a scene where they did a drop dollop of it, where he comes out of the London Underground to meet Benji at the beginning, and there are some armed. Like riot police there and some people, and they do a whole thing of like, oh my god, there's so many loose threads in this film. They do this whole thing of there are acolytes of the entity who welcome it and will bring it into existence. And I'm like, oh cool, that's going to pay off later. No, some guy maybe will have a go at Tom while he's or Ethan
No, I think the guy
while
who
he's
went to
working
shoot
out
the
on a
president.
treadmill.
The guy who went to shoot the president at the end, maybe.
Oh, was that one of
But
them?
they were
I mean,
just
like, but like,
that was just a hand wavy way of saying, in scenes where we think Ethan's safe, instead of bothering to do masks, which is what we should be doing, we just have acolytes of the AI standing there. So that stuff was tedious. Yeah, there was no world building.
None.
Like we're kind of in a post-apocalyptic world here, but that's not how they're treating it. Ethan's just, everything is the same. The Entity is still the most dull movie villain
oh
of
my
all
god.
time.
And then,
I
like-
can't believe we're watching a film where the enemy is a data center.
It's so ill-defined as well. Like, and also, if you're going to pick a lane, if you're going to do Skynet works as a completely alien, omnipresent thing you'd never see or interact with, and that's which they were kind of doing in the first one.
because
But
you
now,
Arnold Schwarzenegger as the face.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where the film also falls over, because Gabriel is a weak-ass villain.
But
he's a
Gabriel-
great actor.
He's
He
in
is
this-
just a nothing.
In this film,
burger.
though, what even confused me more is this is where I completely lost the thread of what was happening. He's not even the friend of the Entity anymore.
No, he's got his own agenda. So who's doing what at any point?
Tell me this, not to skip straight to the plane scene, but so I understand the plan was to
I
get
don't
Gabriel
understand the
to
plan.
stick his USB into a hard drive, and then the moment that stick goes in the hard drive, when they have to be outside, then on the inside, Harriet was like catching because she's this amazing thief.
I
Okay,
loved that. I loved that.
No, but I get all that,
Go
right?
on, yeah. Go
Then
on.
Gabriel legs it off with his bloody hard drive CD-ROM thing, and then
To his rickety 1920s plane he had ready to go.
he goes off with the USB key that's around his neck, and then Tom Cruise has the thingy that it needs to go into. I can't even say what these things are called. So Tom Cruise's
doing great,
goal
Kathy.
is to get Gabriel to put
Have
this.
you ever lived in the world of technology we live in?
We need Gabriel to put a USB key into this yoke,
Yeah.
and then
They kept
Cruise should
calling it something beginning
Tom
with P,
Cruise
like the
should just-
plop plop plop.
Tom Cruise should just give it to him though. Like Gabriel legs it off. Tom Cruise is like climbing up the plane. He just needs to be like, "Here, Gabriel, this is the thing you want. You can plug it in now."
Wouldn't that be a little suspicious?
But that's what they were meeting up to do, and only that Kisher had spoiled it.
I know.
So then why, for 20 minutes, are they doing a plane sequence when they have both got the same goal,
Listen.
which is to stick a USB key into like a drive?
You're asking all the wrong questions. The only question you need to ask is plane cool? And the answer is yes, because all the plane stuff, like from him hopping on one plane, it had Indiana Jones vibes. It was
Yeah.
reminding me of The Last Crusade. Like he's high, he's on the, he's like, and it had some great beats. That he gets this pilot out by loosening his seatbelt and knocking him out. He
was
gets
really
into
good.
the seat. Oh no, there's no instruments on the front of the plane.
This
That's
is where
great.
like
all these little
no
things.
one does
great.
it better than Christopher McQuarrie on those action scenes.
honestly, the storyboarding of all this,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
like,
no,
oh
but
no,
this-
the plane's about to be destroyed. Oh no, now he has to leap to the other plane.
Yeah, but
It's
Dave,
like,
but underscoring all that, but why?
no, yes, okay, but why? As soon as you ask, but why? At any point in this film, it falls over. It just all falls over. So you
Why
have
is-
to suspend your disbelief so far in this film for it to be effective.
I'll suspend
and I'm
disbelief,
willing to
though.
do that. However,
I just need a hand wavy thing where they go, okay, all of a sudden the mission has changed, Tom. You cannot let Gabriel put that USB inside this drive.
I just don't know,
but-
why was it so unnecessarily complicated?
But
if
they-
you want
no,
to
but-
get to an action scene where
Just don't do the USB
Just
and the
don't do all
drive
this
thing.
nonsense.
Because then if somebody never said, oh, now you can't let Gabriel do it, and I still don't know why they couldn't let him. So I got completely, I'll stop talking about it now, but I was in knots watching this scene going, what is happening?
No, I totally agree with you. And can I give you there's so many other examples of where efficiencies could be made. So here's when you got up to go to the toilet, here's the mission that was described. Actually, there's a bit before the mission. So Ethan goes to Dr. Strangelove's lair, and where they're all hanging out.
Oh, I thought the same about
It's
Dr.
all
Strangelove.
Dr.
Because we
Strangelove,
just
which we
watched
recently
it
watched.
over on Patreon.
It's so Dr. Strangelove.
I love that,
all
but
of
it's an
it.
homage, I'd say. It's nice.
And also none of that should have been in the film, if you ask me. It was all a big waste of time. But Ethan's there and they say, you know, whatever, here you go, here's a note, off you go to the helicarrier, right? So Ethan has to go to a helicarrier to have a whole thing with Hannah Waddingham, who was just wasted in this movie. It's fine.
I don't know why she was here, why we had any of those scenes.
So that she can tell him, oh, you need to go to a submarine to get to your submarine. It's just like, please cut some of this, just get to the submarine. Like, why can't it be the president let him go and he got on an airplane and then the airplane dropped him to where he needed to go?
Him jumping off the plane into the freezing ocean.
Oh, it's cool.
So cool.
It's so cool.
I agree with you. It could have just gone from the president to that.
I mean,
didn't need, and I love Hannah Waddingham. Don't need any of it. It adds Now, what we
nothing.
did need was Meacham from Severance.
Who is and again kind of has nothing to do, but I gotta say he brings a lot.
He brought everything. Like
Tremor Tillman is his name, isn't it?
It's a very serious film, and there was few laughs, and he brought most of them. He just has a lightness about him. He said, "Oh, like if you're looking to cause trouble, like I'm the right guy."
His line delivery was terrific, and actually
he stole the film. Honestly.
I gotta say, I enjoyed all the stuff with Ethan on their submarine. I enjoyed all that.
And also was like, oh my god, Tom Cruise is just like fully just in his underpants, like running around the place.
So many fight scenes in his underpants.
Like, that man has been training hard for this film.
And then you get to the submarine bit, which honestly I thought was brilliant. Now it's not quite. I think we've kind of seen tighter, better executed things in this franchise, but like just the minute I felt the enormity of his
it was unbelievable
task, and they set it up really well with like, this is experimental stuff. You're going to get the bends, you're going to get tremors, you might get a brain hemorrhage. Like I thought that was all great, and then just the minute-to-minute stuff of him, the enormity of getting down to this deep to open a submarine, then you've got to get the power on. Like I loved that we stayed in that for so long, and then like the whole bit with the missile cargo area, and the submarine is spinning, and the missiles are moving, and Andy's underwater. Honestly,
incredible.
It actually is incredible.
Yeah.
All of it, and you can see that Tom Cruise is underwater scuba diving.
That he's really in a submarine, and he really went down to the depths of the earth.
But you can see you can just see there's not an ounce of
it's an
Avatar
green
screen
situation.
here. Yeah, he's in a suit.
No, there'll be green screen.
Oh, sure, but
he's underwater.
He's underwater, and you can see his face being reflected properly by the angles of the visor.
And I'm sure, because we watched that Netflix documentary a while back about like that free diving where they do it without tanks. I'm sure at the end that was actually Tom Cruise with no tank, just really deep in the water.
Now, when he starts the torpedo tube and he has to take off all of his clothes and the tank, I'm like, honestly, all of that was incredible, and that's why you go to these movies.
Exactly, like it's pure spectacle. You're literally on the edge of your seat. It's like that. The whole cinema, maybe not your friend from work, but the whole cinema felt very tense in there at that moment that everyone was paying attention. Now, this is where my problem comes in, big time with the scene. He's like, we've done all this bits of like, you know, that we got from the diving team. Even though I missed the mission briefing, I heard them saying, you know, you're gonna get the bends, you're gonna get the shakes. I didn't really see much of that.
Yeah, it doesn't pay off.
That didn't pay off. And then they're like. And then when you get back up to the top, you have to let all the air out of your lungs, etc. He gets to the top. This is the worst scene in the film.
Ugh, yeah.
He gets to the top, he floats. It's like, oh no, is Ethan dead? Because this is the final reckoning. Oh no, there's Hayley Atwell. And instead of showing us what actually happened, next minute he wakes up in some sort of like canoodle fest with her like cleavage over him. And doing this very sexy mouth-to-mouth thing, and they're in this compression chamber, and it was such a bad end to what was such a thrilling scene. It was just like, oh well, we're done with that now, Ethan's fine. And it's like, no, Ethan should be really ill now. Like, that's serious damage he's just done to himself. So all the stakes they set up around his health never paid off from beginning to end.
100% agree.
And I was really
it was
disappointed.
hand-waved away, and also the movie hasn't earned a romantic relationship between Hayley Atwell. She showed up in the last film. I guess they've a little bit of chemistry, but are they like
in love now?
Rebecca Ferguson is a big loss, and we would have, say she had still been in this, that would have been 4 movies worth of a relationship.
Funny though, they don't keep cutting back to her. They keep showing flashbacks of Michelle Monaghan.
Yeah,
another Rebecca Ferguson.
Another relationship
like
that was better, and like Mission Impossible 3, I think did a better job of establishing, well, they were married.
They were married.
And that scene, and I gotta say, the scene where Philip Seymour Hoffman's threatening to shoot her and opens the movie, and Ethan is like caught between it, and they kind of try to echo this at the beginning of this movie when the whole torture scene, which again was unnecessary but fine, like where we're gonna torture Hayley Atwell, and it was just like, but like he just met her 2 months ago.
I started questioning myself. I was like, oh wait, has she been in more movies than I remember?
No, he just met her.
But like, can we talk about the biggest mistake this film has made?
Go on.
Where this film tried to do. Ethan is the chosen one.
They literally said it. They said those words, didn't they?
Every human that has ever lived has been touched by Ethan. Ethan's mission has been to put on this earth to save us, and Ethan actually caused the entity in one of those earlier films.
Oh,
I
I'm
was like,
sorry.
Oh, come on,
That
man.
actually, not only is that stupid and annoying, but two things happen. Number one, they've done the Spectre mistake of saying, actually, I was here the whole time in all of these movies, and it's all connected,
well,
and
like
we planned this whole thing.
Gabriel's been there since the first movie, baby.
Gabriel, which I'm sorry, they never explained or paid off in any meaningful way.
No.
Like, do we ever get a moment of like Tom Cruise and Gabriel? Like, oh my God, he hates him so much because he framed him for murder. Maybe I don't. Is that what happened? And that's why he's in the IMF. Do we ever get a payoff where he's like, "You changed my life. You murdered that woman in that flashback, who we don't know who that is."
Gabriel is just not like at the races in this
He's
film.
a nothing.
Yeah.
But back to the end. Oh yeah. Oh my God. The not only is that stupid idea and someone in the writers' room obviously thought that, and was like, what if the rabbit's foot for Mission Impossible 3 was the entity? Haha! Great, we've cracked it, and they would have all been pleased with themselves.
The problem is time on it though.
The problem is that's stupid. Number one, and number two, it makes that film worse retroactively because that was a genius move of J.J. Abrams and crew in Mission Impossible 3 to identify correctly that the MacGuffin in these movies are not why we're here. Mm-hmm. They are stupid. They are boring. The stakes are just the world's going to end. Who knows what it is? And also what these guys probably wouldn't know. The people on the ground who are given the instructions to save the world are just told, stop this thing.
Or bring X to Y.
And also, it doesn't matter. And this movie is so obsessed with raising the stakes so much with the nuclear threat thing that I'm like, I don't know. I just think this movie has lost all focus, whereas Mission Impossible 3, while weaker in terms of the sort of action set pieces in many ways, at least understood that let's focus on Ethan's relationship with one person, a woman. Let's make it believable, and let's sort of center it around that.
Yeah,
and
what happens to Spy when they get married? Like that's an interesting question.
Exactly. Whereas,
and then they've always had the team focus, but I feel like in this one, they're like, no, because Ethan's now the Messiah. He's essentially Jesus Christ, right? Everything in the world is about Ethan. He's the only person the president can call. Is she in previous movies? Because they seem to know each other. I think so. She was
the head of the CIA at one point.
Right. Okay. Because I couldn't.
That room is all filled with people from previous movies.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So we find out then John Voight's son is here. Whatever. Like, there's so much going on. Two things that we need to talk about. Ving Rhames.
Shea Wiggum as John Voight's son. Fine, but again, adds nothing. No payoff. Oh, we get a handshake at the end.
What's going on?
Remove this stuff from this movie.
So taking Ving Rhames out, right? Terrible idea. Because, first of all, he's a beloved character, right? Maybe the actor wanted to leave the franchise. I don't know. I felt like his death he was fridged. His death only served to make Ethan emotional.
Very hollow.
And what you're really missing once you lose Ving Rhames, and this film really missed, was, you know, the really fun technological stuff. Like, remember in the last film when Ving Rhames, and there was that amazing airport scene which came back to me where
that was great.
Ving Rhames is like doing all the stuff with the computers and he's like the techie guy and he's helping Ethan. Whereas this film was all like, oh well, Ethan, you don't have anyone now. It's all on you. And that was really boring.
And that's what I was referencing earlier.
And I don't think they should have killed him off. Like, he's been there the longest.
You've got where you've got the team, where you've got a team in the same place, and they're all doing their own individual skills to contribute. Now, but this movie decided by separating them, they were contributing towards the same mission, which is interesting. They have to transmit the coordinates to him.
That was so fun, and we need to get to that scene. That was brilliant.
However, it's not quite the same as having everyone in the same location. But that said, the Arctic stuff And the one callback I really did like was bringing back whatever his name was from Mission Impossible 1.
I love to see it, but pause him a second.
Go on.
Ving Rhames has been, I believe, in every movie that I remember.
Nearly all of them.
Nearly all of them. What do we think? Bad? Good idea? I think a terrible idea to get rid of him.
I just, it felt like nothing to me. I mean, if they
just made nothing
I
of
don't
it. Like, it's like the film is so obsessed with Ethan now that they've forgotten how important his character was.
Also,
Do you know what
sorry,
I mean?
I didn't understand what Gabriel's motivation was. Gabriel's like, I need to get this chip off Luther.
Yeah.
The virus and the USB stick. So I'm like, he goes there, gets it, and then it's like, now bomb. Now bomb.
Yeah.
Now,
Just so Luther could get
now I'm
cool
going to
scene.
lock him in. Now, okay, I got to lock him in. Bomb under London. So his plan is just going to blow up all of London?
He keeps
Because I know
keeps
that-
leaving bombs around whenever he doesn't know what to do. So he leaves the bomb.
When
and then
in
it's
doubt,
like,
bomb.
Tom, you're locked on the outside. I'm on the inside, brother. Tom keeps talking to him. It's like, Tom, go away. He's trying to dismantle this bomb. I think partially it was because they wanted Tom to have an emotional moment, and then partially it's because they needed Tom to be running away from an explosion.
Yes.
They're like, we can tie it all together. And what they forgot to actually do is give Ving Rhames a good death. And in fact, I don't think he needed to
It was
die at all.
okay.
And
But
then
can we
back
talk?
to
Sorry,
the guy,
get
the
on.
callback from the
sorry.
first movie.
On that subject, can we talk about the voice note that Ving Rhames left on a
Easy.
device that has no speaker? Neither of those things would have a speaker.
He's like, this
So
is
did he
basically the
build-
message he left him. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come,
I'm
thy will
sorry.
be done. He was like, you are the Lord Jesus
The
Christ.
dialogue. It was absurd. The dialogue in this movie is dreadful, from almost from beginning
He's
to
like,
end.
your mission,
It's
should you
dreadful.
choose to accept it, is to save the world, because it's always been you, Ethan. Everything in the entire world
It's been
is
about
at your
you.
hands.
And it's literally it's just character saying how awesome Ethan is, or explaining the plot to us, or the only other thing of dialogue that happens in this movie is and Ving Rhames' whole final death note is all about this. It's like platitudes you would read on your aunt's Instagram or your aunt's Facebook page, like life is left to us by those who choose to lead it.
It's like, for the,
See the vision, brother.
I like the
Walk
idea,
through
though.
the fields of
I like-
solitude.
I think
What are you
genuinely,
saying?
seriously, what's missing in the world right now is a sense of community and people caring about people that they themselves don't know.
Yeah.
And actually, it's what JD Vance got told off by the Pope. Because JD was like, you should love those closer to you more. And the Pope was like, no, you shouldn't, before he came, the Pope, the new guy. And there was a lovely message in here, which is like, for those we love and those we haven't met. And I think for
I
those,
did like that line.
for
That's a
those
good
we
line
haven't
of
met is a
dialogue.
lovely sentiment, and I think it's one that we should all aspire to. So that did resonate with me, that line, and like obviously I cried when I was listening to that stupid voice note about him being the Messiah and like Jesus Christ. But we have to go, but we have to talk about your man coming back from the first film, because that was so fun. That was so fun.
I loved that.
Yeah.
And I thought that, see, rather than just retroactively say, actually, the Rebel Foot was like, they brought someone back in a meaningful way. They gave him what felt like 30 years of a rich backstory.
I know.
And
I
it
love
felt-
him and his wife. I'm like, I want to see how they fell in love when they met.
And I loved it that the movie was like, so many times it was like, he's sacrificing himself now, that's nice. No, he's still in it. And he just kept,
Yeah.
he's still alive at
That
the end.
whole
I was-
sequence
they
of
both are.
trying to get the coordinates in the house, that was when Simon Pegg and them finally got to do something good. Oh my god, sorry, one last thing. The blonde French lady from the last film, she's gone from being this cool villain to like a featured
Why
extra.
is she in this? No, her and the other guy. They were just like the guard from the beginning, and,
But at least
they were
he
like,
wasn't like a
Why is he there?
lead in the last film. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose,
like
yeah.
it's a good role for him, but for her, it's like she's gone from being the villain to being someone who just goes in the background going, "Je m'appelle le français."
she is so pointless and wasted. Pom Clemente, who's great and was good in the first one, but in the last film, but like they made her whole character arc in this, her whole arc. If you're gonna have this character and then you give them this motivation, which is, I want to kill Gabriel, and then you've all these moments where she's trying to shoot him and they're like, no, we need him alive, and then she never gets to meet Gabriel. So
she
I'm
just-
like,
she just
are
hangs
you
around,
kidding me?
sticking a
You're not
pen.
gonna pay off her
I'm
character.
sorry, but the pen in Simon Pegg's chest. Yeah, we've all seen Grey's Anatomy 100 times. Like,
Oh
that
no,
was
I liked all that stuff.
I've seen
where
that scene so many times in Grey's Anatomy.
I liked that where Simon Pegg is instructing one person
Yeah,
how
that was
to do the
cool.
tech and another person how to save his life.
That
That's
was
great
cool.
setup.
That
That's
was
good.
cool. But all she does then is like everything's happening around her in English, and then she'll just be like, wee wee wee. Okay, like we know she's French.
By the way,
character,
my name is Paris.
Mike, like,
Are you kidding? It's like having an Irish person speaking exclusively in Gaelic called Dublin, who
just didn't make any sense.
who understands English perfectly.
It just didn't make any sense. Yeah, so I mean that stuff was all absurd. We could keep talking about this.
I've got no. Can I?
Good time, but we
do have to go. But
listen.
I've got a couple of other loose.
Okay, very
This
quick.
film is so full of holes.
I mean, the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, how did this make it to a screen?
Like, why in the middle introduce this Russian general and all these Russians and say the Cold War is a threat, and then you have this whole standoff with some interesting dialogue. Would you trust me in your position? Probably.
Oh, that
not.
was really fun.
That's interesting.
I
But
loved all that stuff.
But that's it. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Where's all this going? And then they're like, wait. They don't want the key because they have their own key. And then the general goes, we have the coordinates. We'll listen into their we've listened into their radio. Let's go. And I'm like, wow, can't wait for that to be paid off later.
No, because they sent them to the other end of the world.
Oh, I guess, yeah. No, which was a final twist.
That. I
But
like that.
No, but like, why have any? I mean, just that all just felt like.
I didn't mind any of it, but the problem is in an hour, that's a film that's 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is a part 2 of a film you've already seen. You are just like, just get to the submarine, Ethan.
Just get to the submarine.
Yeah.
They had the whole. I thought all the Doctor Strangelove should have been cut. I think Hannah Waddingham should have been cut.
Yeah.
There's a whole
And we loved her,
bit
by
with
the
an
way.
embassy dinner. Like they would have hired like hundreds of extras
I
and
love that,
tuxedos and dresses.
Give actors work.
But they didn't do anything there. He just met.
He met Hayley
He
Atwell.
met Hayley Atwell,
Yeah.
and then they got drugged.
I think the whole point was like they're always trying to trying to tell us how Ethan is both exiled and desired by the American government at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, Ethan shows up to the US embassy. He's like, no one will see me here. It's like, well, apparently everyone knows who you are. You are no longer living in the shadows, Ethan. And then he sees Hayley Atwell. But yeah, I agree, all could have been cut. I have to laugh so much at the final scene when they're on, where are they, like Piccadilly Circus or something?
Yeah.
For no reason now. So at the end of the film I thought, oh, so Tom Cruise and Hayley Atwell are like together now, like they seem to be in love, you know?
Yeah.
No. It's like some time has passed.
It's the
They've
kind of
all-
love where you stare at someone outside an underground station and never say anything.
They all meet up outside an underground, yeah. For no, like, I don't know how they've communicated to do this. You think, oh right, the gang's getting back together. No. We will all look at each other,
So
nod,
stupid.
and leave.
Why? It was like the end of Ocean's 11, but like that was different because I guess they've also just done a whole mission together, but they're at the place and then they kind of look at each other and depart. Whereas they would have had to go to a different country.
Exactly.
They would have had, let's we must all rendezvous at this exact point, at this exact time.
Let's give it some grace.
Just
Hayley
to
Atwell and
what?
Simon Pegg might already live in England. Tom has flown back from wherever he was, and Paris has gotten the Eurostar over.
No, she got a haircut on the way.
Right, yeah.
She got a haircut.
I
got the
don't know why they all met up to look at each other. I think they thought it was cool, but it was actually just baffling. And again, another scene that just like shouldn't have probably
so
been there.
Stupid. And then, I'm sorry, the other thing, which thematically, there's this whole thing, the whole movie, it has no real theme or message, but if you were to try and apply one, it would be...
The message is that Ethan is the greatest man who ever lived.
It would be, exactly. And so maybe this end is appropriate, but the whole movie, they're like, Ethan saying... No one person should have this kind of power. All the governments are trying to control it, and I guess you could look at it as like an analog for nuclear threat or something even worse than that. No one country should have this power. Okay, that's Ethan's position. Fine, we can get on board with
Thank
that.
God America had a reasonable president
then-
in this one. Very
Yeah.
aspirational
And
president.
then Hayley Atwell says to him in the decompression love chamber, she says, maybe
Which was
Ethan,
just a tent.
maybe you should have it. Maybe you
She's like,
should have
"You
ultimate
are the
control
greatest
because
man
you're the greatest man in the world." Yeah.
Who ever lived, Ethan.
And then he's like, "No, that's a bad idea." And I'm like, "Yeah, good, because he's a man of principle." And then the end of the movie, she gives it to him, and he kind of walks off. And we're now. Maybe they're leaving it open. Like, is he going to destroy it? Is
if
he
they
not?
bring the entity back for the next film, like I know I said I'll always show up. I will not go to watch another film about the entity.
We are boycotting the entity.
Like, data centers are a bad thing, right? They're damaging for the environment. We don't like them. But I don't need to see a movie where they're the villain. Like Hayley Atwell catching the light when it came into the USB key. I don't care. Like,
oh, that was good.
yeah, but it was But it is and it isn't good though. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not really interesting. Like when you break it down, like, that is not an interesting thing to be watching.
I
So
suppose.
yeah. Anyway, we've just overanalyzed it, which actually shows how much fun we had, because we don't do this for films we don't enjoy.
Yeah, just as a reminder,
Yeah.
we just shat all over it, but still brilliant film, and we had a great time. And I don't care if it's stupid or whatever. Like, I mean, it's just like, I had a blast.
Oh, and I like, the thing is, you're like, oh, they had all these extras in this scene and they wasted time in that scene. I'm like, I'm happy to see them out employing people.
Yeah.
Keeping the movie industry going. Like, Tom Cruise has said he wants to keep making movies till he's 100. I'm like, brilliant. I want to see a 100-year-old hanging off a plane.
Do it. Keep going.
Keep going.
The problem isn't that this movie is stupid and entertaining. I'm fine with that. The problem is, if this Mission Impossible franchise had been 8 movies of stupid and entertaining, I'd have been like, grand, we're getting more of the same. Like when we showed it to Final Destination last week, and we got a Final Destination film, and it was good, and we had great
we go
fun.
to Fast and Furious, we know what we're going to get.
Exactly, but this film series has managed to hit the heights of being incredibly good and tight, and have all the action films and not be stupid, and now they've become stupid.
Final Destination, I would argue, was less stupid than this film.
I actually think it's a better film in some ways, which I never thought I'd say. But sorry, quick last thing before we go.
My watch here.
Last thing before we go. You mentioned the Fast and the Furious. These 2 films are more at home in the Fast and the Furious universe than in the Mission Impossible. I gotta say it. There's so many moments of Luther and Benji and Ethan looking at each other, and I thought they were going to say,
"Hey, brother."
family. It's all about family. And it's even Fast 10 had a whole thing where Ving Rhames, also the chosen one, and goes off to do a different mission than the rest of them because he's too cool. That's what this movie did. Like, this film is honestly veering into Fast and the Furious
but
territory.
it's much better. We love it. We'll be back for the next one. We want to hear what you think about it, so come over to us. We're on Blue Sky, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Letterboxd, and we're on Patreon, so you've no excuse. Come and find us. Let us know what you thought, and also please, wherever you listen to podcasts, if you left us a review, we would greatly appreciate it.
And thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Our lives are the sum of our choices. If this was your calling, your destiny, I have no regrets. Neither should you.
I need you to trust me. One last time.